the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Pleasant good morning to one and all in the various time zones around the world. Welcome to another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program, and of course you're logged on to WinFM 98.9 on your FM dial. Once again, good morning to all the many folks out there, those in sanitation, those in health, those in security, those in transportation, just about everybody within the Federation wishing you a most beautiful day. It's Wednesday. And it's the 11th, no, it's the 12th day of October. We're zooming along. And I have two ladies, two very, very great personalities within the studio, not in the head, yes, it's yes. We have with us this morning, and they're here for just an hour. So we have lots of stuff to unpack within that short time frame. So I'm going to keep the phone lines unlocked for a while we get into the meat of this morning presentation. We want to welcome once again to the microphones of WinFM, Ms. Vernaldine Francis, and she is the SKN Director of ECHO. And that will be the Eastern Caribbean Copyright Organization. Got it right?
Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization.
Collective, okay. Right. Yeah, well, that's good. Right. Might want to get your microphone a bit closer to you.
Okay.
And Ms. Leah Cratch-Chatterton from the Department of Entertainment, affiliated with Moent, and she's here to speak to us about, there's an upcoming press conference, and you might want to be tuned into that. Well, what we're unpacking today is some of the issues that affects the entertainers within the Federation in terms of their copyright rights. A lot of us still don't know how to take advantage of, the services offered to us. So we're going to have Ms. Francis and Ms. Chatterton tell us exactly what we need to know. Welcome once again to the microphone of NFM. And the mic is yours.
Okay, essentially, I think I should start by saying what a collective management organization is. And essentially, it is a means for administering for royalties or royalty payments and distribution. So ECHO is, again, the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, and we have reciprocal agreements with other CMOs across the globe. We have reciprocal agreements with the USA, like BMI and ASCAP, the UK, PRS, for example. There's SOCAN, there is SUISA, there's BSCAP, there's, of course, in the Caribbean, COT, JCAP, COSCAP, etc. So we have, okay, essentially we have to have these reciprocal agreements so that we can collect on behalf of these other organizations. And we cannot distribute unless there's licensing. So essentially licensing is the process where a music user would obtain the right to use the music for public performance. And by public performance, I mean that, you know, any sort of event or, you know, that involves persons listening to works or numerous individuals listening to works. So, for example, an event at a restaurant, at hotels, etc. I could bring an example where individuals would say, well, why don't I just play YouTube and at my establishment and it's okay? If you are a channel owner and you have your YouTube channel, say New Vibes has a YouTube channel, and an entity or say a restaurant decides to play the YouTube channel for New Vibes, and that restaurant has maybe 50 individuals dining there. What is going to reflect on the YouTube channel is just one view, which is unfair. So essentially a license would cover what would have been lost by that one view. I mean, I'm open to questions. I mean, I know this is a hot topic because I've been asked this question numerous times. So I'm open to questions.
I'm listening.
I'm open to questions, you know, later on. But, you know, royalties and licensing, basically licensing is the backbone of royalty distribution. It cannot happen without licensing. And the compliance is very important in the Eastern Caribbean in order for the creatives to actually move forward. In any venture that any creative would have, say to perform internationally, one of the first questions, and I mean a music creative, and one of the first questions that they would ask, who is your PRO or CMO? That's one of the first questions, because that would determine how serious you are about the music business.
Correct.
And they would essentially know exactly how to deal with you from there on. There are persons who have come and have spoken to the representatives of ECHO, and you know, in trying to expand their market, they are saying that they're seeing the importance of being a part of a CMO. They're seeing the importance of licensing. For example, if an artist who is not necessarily the songwriter, but let's say for this example, he or she is a songwriter, they go on they perform on a show that is not licensed. They perform at 10 shows that are not licensed. And then there's this one show, maybe the 11th show, that is licensed. And then they get a royalty check that is small. They would be like, oh, well, how come the check is so small and I performed at this and that event? Well and truly, you can't expect to get what you didn't do the proper research for. So if you perform at 10 shows that are not licensed, you cannot expect to get royalties for that show. However, if you go onto a show expecting or under the impression that that show is registered or licensed, then you can, take that promoter to task.
Okay, quick question before I get to Ms. Tarleton. Mm-hmm. How would this relate to the Calypso Tents?
Good question, Socrates. Because I know this is the first. You should license, but what I would advise that you do is to ask each individual that you are going to have on your tent. You have to seek permission, first of all. If you're not going to obtain the license, you seek permission
from them? From
them and anyone that is involved in the creation of their works. So you get permission from the songwriters, you get permission from the arrangers of the music. And they may have some that are part of a CMO, and they may have some that are not.
I'm going to certainly ask a question in the terms. Okay, so we have a number of venues we plan to take the tents to. Mm-hmm. They would also have to be licensed, also.
They should be.
They should be licensed. Mm-hmm. Okay.
If not, okay. For example, if it is, we have the tariff accommodates for a blanket license for venues. if your tent or your Calypso tent is not a part of what they would have, say, discussed with ECHO initially, then, and if you call that an event that you are putting on, then you should obtain the license
Okay.
as the event host
I
or organizer.
give me work to do, but I want to be compliant because I have X amount of Calypsonians. In my tent, we plan about 8 events at various points around the island, throughout the Federation. And some will be like open venues to the public at a certain point. But in terms of, say, you have a person being the writer or arranger of most of the songs in that particular tent, what does he or she have to do?
Well, hopefully they're signed up with the CMO, because if you're going to obtain the license, they stand to make some royalties from that. I would advise that if they're not, they should. Normally, we have a 3-year window. They should put down their performance log. They should put it down. There's a sheet that we have, a form that we can give you to give them.
You need to give me one. You get one myself definitely.
Yes.
I see the ladies here shaking their head. Yes.
So then you submit it, and then so there's a 3-year mark where we have, we give someone the chance to claim their works.
Okay. Ms. Chatterton?
We call them unidentified works.
Unidentified works.
Right, because they're not in the system. They're not in the database.
Okay.
So they'll be classified as unidentified.
I understand. Ms. Chatterton, from the Department of Entertainment, we are heading into the carnival season. Lots of artists performing their works, the radio station playing their content, etc., etc., etc. Ties into what Ms. Francis said about remunerations once you're a member of these collective agencies. So, you in from your Department of Entertainment, as it relates to the bands playing at various venues, Calypsonians, soccer artists performing, how do you plan to manage that?
Well, firstly, good morning to our listening and viewing audience. That question, I think, is best suited for another forum. However, what I can share with you is that from our department's perspective, we want to ensure that all of our creatives are supported, and we create an ecosystem that facilitates them monetizing their talent. As it relates specifically to music creatives, however, we understand that one of the ways in which they can monetize their talent is to take advantage of the intellectual property rights protection that they have for their creative works. The Intellectual Property Office has been working arduously to encourage music creatives and creatives in general, but we've realized that, as in anything, if you want to go further, collaboration is necessary. And so that's why we are putting on, initially tomorrow, the press conference to raise awareness for a public consultation that we plan to execute in November, 2nd and 3rd, or 1st and 2nd? First and second in St. Kitts and one in Nevis, with the music creatives to raise their awareness and educate them on this whole process, licensing, protecting their creative works, being able to collect royalties, understanding the base of the CMO, really. Because a lot of the times we tend to look externally, but there are things that we need to do on our end to put these things into place, and that's one of them.
When is this meeting tomorrow?
So tomorrow the press conference will be...
press conference.
Yes, it will be at 10 a.m. at the NEMA conference room. It will be streamed on ZIZ Radio, ZIZ Online, as well as on Moent TV, that's channel 4, cable, or our YouTube channel, which is Moent SKN YouTube, I think. But yes. And we'll have representative, the registrar from the IPO there to go more in depth. Director Vanalderine will also be present. And most importantly, our 2 main decision makers will be present in the persons of the Attorney General, Garth Wilkin, as well as our Minister for the Creative Economy, Samuel Duggins.
I'm going to have a few words with Samuel Duggins, the Minister, right? He's offering, and I really applaud that. I think it's $500 towards artists under 16, towards the recording studio costs. Well, I ain't under 16.
No.
You're showing the old people on the bus.
Yes, and I mean, it is a great initiative, and I think
Definitely.
it should be applauded.
I do applaud it.
But as someone myself who's over the youth age, technically, not mindfully, I do sense that, and not just locally, but internationally as well, I have seen a tendency to hyper focus on the youth to the exclusion of older, more mature persons.
Saying that also, I've been to a few meetings, and Ms. Francis can attest to this, where this is not the first initiative to reach out to creatives, to come to these forums, learn their rights and participate. And you may have, at least 2 meetings, you had only one Calypsonian, maybe 2. You know, so the younger people, they are more aggressive in terms of learning what they need to know in the industry. So
Is it that then Calypsonians, and this is just me thinking out loud, is it that Calypsonians look at their craft more as a hobby, something that they like to do versus their
livelihood?
Yes. Could
to
that be?
a very large extent, so because it seemed to be a seasonal
I was about to say.
project, right? And more you see, I wouldn't say an encouragement, because whereas in the past the carnival or the Christmas season featured mainly calypso, all the many genres are now creeping in, and we're being sidelined, and there's a whole discussion for that. There was a meeting I was in recently where they're looking to engage the junior Calypsonians from the primary school level. And there was some pushback. Well, they want to sing calypso because everybody's singing soca because this and that soca. You have to start someplace. But generally, you like the calypso, you have to drag them to the water and spoon feed them. So it would be interesting to see how many turn up to the meeting tomorrow. The press conference.
Yeah, basically, we don't anticipate that they'll come there in person. Where we do want persons to attend is the public consultation, especially persons who promote events and who play music in a public setting, because we want them to understand their role in the whole ecosystem. If they don't obtain these licenses from ECHO, if they don't pay, then our creatives don't get that additional
Domino
stream
effect.
of income.
I look at Unexpected, one of our better writers as a creative, as a calypsonian, as an entertainer, and he bemoans the fact he don't get paid. There are people who just take his recordings and sell them. So there are times he don't want to take part in carnival event because he's not being appreciated in the full sense of the word. Yeah, great song, love song, but they'll go elsewhere to a particular establishment, buy his recordings. He gets nothing. So I guess we need to reach out to him.
But the
which
Copyright
is
Act protects him. He can actually, well, I guess he doesn't, maybe someone needs to inform him that he has the ability and the right to sue.
okay.
But does he have the means?
I'm sure someone would.
But if he's a member, he's got representation.
If he's a member, he would have representation, because then we would, step in on his behalf. However, in a case like that, copyright belongs to him,
Definitely.
and he has the right to say something. I mean, it's a criminal offense. I mean, someone has blatantly taken your work and decided to sell it, and
He
without your
complains
permission.
there's a level of frustration, but beyond that, he seems not to have or know the redress he can have. But at this point in time, though, we want to pause for a word from our sponsors. We have to go downtown and give Caesar his due. When we come back, Mr. Charlton, you can continue with the point you were trying to raise. We go downtown.
Magnum. Take charge, take charge, take charge, take charge, take charge, take. Everybody put a Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, let me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. He are a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah, yeah. Right now a Magnum a for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
I want to say good morning to Miss Rosemary Donald up there in New York, and thanks for the wheelchairs. We're going to get a couple of wheelchairs shortly. We're going to chat later on. I want to say good morning to Jennifer up there in Atlanta, logged on to WinFM, and of course to the program she's hearing from Miss Vanalderine Francis, Miss Clay Chatterton. We're talking about intellectual property rights. ECHO, the organization that is trying to reach out to a lot of local creatives to better understand their loss by not being a member of a CMO. That's a collective
management organization.
Help out old man, all right. And this Charlatan here from the Ministry of Entertainment is trying to put something in place, some structure in place so that the local entertainers are remunerated for their works. We were talking about the tents and how they operate. Well, my format is that I seek sponsorships to cover the operational costs of the tents. I have about 11 Calypsonians coming across from Nevis. That costs have to be covered. And so the structure is the gate belongs to Calypsonians. And oftentimes we don't see a lot of returns from the gate. People love the songs, etc., etc. A few years back, we went to public tents. People got accustomed to not paying but seeing but you're not supporting the art form, you know?
That's true.
And so when we have 15, 20 Calypsonians performing, and the gate can only produce like $400, it's not encouraging. And they ask, well, how come you guys are not better, you're not recording, blah, blah. It's a tough call. And we were discussing whether Calypso is still vibrant as it was back in the day. The audience that goes to the Calypso tents is the same demographic. So we go over and he's our proud sons, I'm legends. We don't have tents on the same night. We give the audience, the public, a chance to come to one tent just to make sure that there's some money made. But as a structure, I seek sponsorship to cover the operational cost, and then the gate receipt goes to the Calypsonians. But if there were members of ECHO, let's talk about ECHO because we're local, then the returns can be much greater because they sometimes perform as guest performers on shows. Their content is being played on the various radio stations, and they get nothing for that.
That's right. And that is, of course, reliant on compliance. Yes, if these institutions, like WinFM, obtain the license.
Mm-hmm. Listen upstairs. But over the years, we had the great concert was, and he would belt out those songs, and people throughout the diaspora would listen to ZLZ to get the latest Calypso. It was like a culture. Sadly, that's missed because it set the tone for the whole atmosphere of Carnival. The Calypso, because they say without Calypso, it's like caroling at Christmas, but Calypso set the tone and the atmosphere for Carnival. And that is sadly missed.
Let me ask you a question. Have you tried putting on a tent outside of the season?
Yes.
And how it wasn't successful?
No. I staged 2 attempts with mainly female Calypsonians. I was building a platform for them. And it was at Map House. And dance completely lights. If you go to the public, it's one thing, but there's a cost. I don't own equipment. I have to rent equipment from a provider, so my overhead is a lot bigger. So I would love to do all that. I have tried, but then it's not. This cost is not. It's not encouraging. I recall one guy telling me we had public tents at one point, and one guy came and said, "I ain't start yet. I ain't start." But I say, when we're paying at the gate, you don't show up. It's a free tent now, but you come to criticize. You know, so sadly, to some extent, the Calypsonians we have ourselves to blame. But what you're doing now, I know there have been attempts to reach out to all the creatives across the board, and Calypsonians have shown the least interest.
I recall, maybe Grace, if she's listening, can confirm, or Jihan. I recall that I think there was a meeting some years ago, and Grace and Jihan, they would have spoken to the Calypsonians. I believe that has been done.
Must have been overseas.
No.
No, it had to be overseas. I missed that. I recall the one I
Oh,
attended.
you mean you were overseas? Okay.
Yes, I recall the one we attended up at the Customs building some years ago. And there were 2 Calypsonians, where there was a Calypso writer and myself.
No, I think the Department of Culture put that on. I think it would have been...
Name of the month.
Yeah, Mills, the Mills.
Mills,
brothers,
name of the
yes.
month.
I'm not sure. It would have been around Carnival.
Right.
Yeah, maybe about 3-4 years ago. Let me see if that is Grace messaging me.
to tell you.
Yes.
Yes. Because you're here for...
Said they had 2 meetings.
Yeah, 2 meetings. Okay. We're going to open up the lines, hoping to get the public feedback on this topic. 4660989, 6620989 gets you in on the conversation. And for those further field, I think it's 718. Let me get that information for the New York number. Folks want to be part of this conversation also. But yeah, the local numbers are 4660989, 6620989. And you can speak to Miss Francis or Miss Chatterton. But in the meantime, ladies, the mic is yours. That meeting tomorrow addresses specifically
the press conference.
The press conference. Yeah, well, the better not really working then. That happens sometimes. It's the AC.
Okay.
Right.
So Grace says that they had 2 meetings with the Carnival Committee. The Carnival Committee would have facilitated those meetings.
How come I missed that? I don't recall any of those, but that's okay. I will be in tune for the press conference tomorrow. I should be working from home. But I'm going to get the login information. But the timing is perfect.
That actually is what prompted it. I mean, there were discussions previously, and it was going to come in any event. However, with the carnival season impending, and so many opportunities for our creatives to monetize their talent, we felt that it would be an ideal time to educate the persons responsible for ensuring that they get their fair share or their due. I do think, though, generally our culture as it relates to how we view creatives and their talent, and understanding that their talent is their livelihood, I think that needs to change. So historically, we've looked at that as something for our entertainment. It's a pastime. It's just fun. Whereas, as you highlighted earlier, and we've heard this as well at the ministry, it costs money to produce this content. So and that's not just because if you're recording, you have to pay a recording studio, or if you want a song, you have to pay the writer to write the song. Even if you yourself sit down and write that song, you took your time, and your time counts. It has a monetary value. That's why we get paid. We get paid for our output and the time that it takes us to do that. Whether we're fairly compensated or not, that's a whole different question. But we have to move towards that shift where we understand that this is their job. And just like how we go to our job daily and wish to be paid and paid handsomely, they too have a different type of job, but they are entitled to that payment.
Do you think the culture that have existed for so many years, where the artist has more or less become accustomed to it, is one of the reasons why they're not really that keenly interested? You have to like drag them now to this point where there's understanding your work has value. Over the many years, to a very large extent, they've been exploited.
Well, I can't speak for anyone per se, but I can understand where they could be disenchanted.
Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices.
Decline and be removed from consideration.
Hello, the caller. You're live on Voices. Are you there? Machine, come on. Okay. Sorry about the caller. Please feel free to call back. We'd love to hear what you have to say. 466 gets you in on the conversation. 466-0989, 662-0989. And from the New York area, 718-285-6948. From Florida, 305-921-4619. And you're calling the studios of WinFM 98.9. Listen to Voices. Ms. Salatin, you were saying?
Right. I was saying, while I can't dare to speak for anyone, I can empathize and understand that it surely must be disenchanting trying to apply your trade year after year and being met with a stone wall. Not everyone will have that resilience to keep chipping away, hoping at some point to get to the other side, especially if you feel like there is nothing in place, no structure, no foundation, no base to assist you. So that by the time that rolls around, you're so disenchanted that you figure it's either one can't help you or it's not real. It's just lip service.
Some years ago, it was Mr. Ken Ballantyne, when he was the Calypso Subcommittee Chair, who recognized that the Calypsonians were not given any money to prepare them. He says, I can't believe that, because in other countries, they get somebody to prepare you. Whereas in the pageants, they're not only given chaperone, but they have people who manage them, etc., etc. Calypsonian has to find not only money to go to the studio, but his own management, prepare for show. And they started then to give us a little something up front to prepare us prior to that. So that was one step in the right direction. What you're doing now is actually...
Is it continuing?
Yes, it is continuing.
Okay.
See, I'm wearing so many hats when it comes to this, right? But it's important that we love Carnival, and Calypso is one of the main events that bring out our people. And we've had, over the years, many of the better-known Calypsonians have just stepped away from this with discouragement, etc. Now, there's a platform that was built for the female Calypsonians. They've come into their own, and they're dominating, and it's a beautiful thing, because at one point they were more on the sideline and had their own show. Now they can see at the same stage. So we have that happening, and we're hoping this year, coming off COVID, 2 years of restrictions, so to speak, we can have a much better vibrant Carnival. But you're looking at from the managerial point of view, and embracing the whole concept of the artist's worth, recognizing his worth, and taking advantage of the mechanism being put in place to celebrate the worth. So I appreciate that. 662-0989, 466-0989 gets you in on the conversation. We have in the studios with us Miss Bernaldine Francis, the director of the SKN ECHO chapter, and we have Miss Leah Craig Chatterton, and she's with the Department of Entertainment. And I love the launch of Moint. Tell us about Moint and what it portends for or creatives? You have a big smile.
No. The smile is because you've put me quite on the spot here. I wasn't anticipating having to discuss Moent per se. However, I can speak to a few things. Initially, the idea was to formalize what has, for the large part, been an informal industry, recognizing that the talents that we have within the Federation can contribute economically to our growth as a country. Ideally, it is to help foster and develop those talents to the point where they can see some monetary returns, understanding then that they have now moved from that informal aspect where you're a freelancer or you do this thing by the way, and bringing them to formalizing it where this is now your business. You are an entrepreneur. You're not just an entertainer. You're not just the talent, but you are a business person. You're a business owner. What you own is your talent, but you also need to manage it to the point where you can receive financial gains. Especially coming out of COVID, we've seen a shift. I mean, since in the past 10 years, maybe 15 years, you've seen an international shift, understanding the cultural and creative industries and the impact and contribution they can have to the overall economic development of countries. More so in the developed countries, obviously, because they have the resources to really pump into those sectors. But more and more, especially coming out of COVID, developing countries have seen that shift as well, understanding that this is a viable option for us. But you have to create the ecosystem. You have to nurture that talent and you have to guide them. Because a lot of the times, as with anything, if you have an athlete who has raw natural talent, most times, 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, let's say, they will reach further if they have a coach, if they have a team around them, if they have that
structure.
ecosystem pushing them to the limits of their talent so that they can improve.
In a nutshell, that's the role of
That is
Moent.
the role of this department, yes. And I think there may have been in the past, I mean, this predated my commencement at the ministry. However, I think the idea was to bring a sense of comfort to the creatives who were crying out, feeling left out. There were things in place for them, you know. There were already things in place. It's just that I think they may have been getting lost amongst it, not knowing where to go. So the idea was having this beacon to show, okay, you come here and we'll direct you everywhere else.
I recall attending one of the first meetings, and it was on the COVID. So you find people were very hopeful, and we loved what we heard. I mean, it was there. The presentation was fabulous, but if people don't follow up, you tend to lose that initial appeal. That it was wonderful, and I'm thinking, great.
My understanding with that, again, it predated me, but my understanding of that is what the ministry wanted to start with was fundamentals, training, basics, that sort of thing. And coming out of COVID, the stakeholders weren't particularly interested in learning without the financial benefit. And
immediate.
Exactly. So because obviously the COVID highlighted any financial constraints that you had, whether or not you felt you were in a good financial position, COVID tested that. Mm-hmm. So coming out of that hardship, not knowing where you're going financially, I think their priorities were more geared towards that immediate sense of filling my pocket versus this is something that we're laying the foundation for, and you will see returns later down. So we, as Moent was coming with a more big picture approach, the persons that we were trying to reach at the time wanted to focus on the I need to eat now, which is fear. So I think
realistic.
that's where there was some challenge. However, and it took some time to pivot. But I think there were still some who we managed to reach, and we continue to be hopeful that we'll reach more going forward.
Okay. You are not here by accident, so would it be fair to say that you're working in tandem? We're talking about ECHO and the entertainment industry.
Yes,
Ministry for the ministry, yeah.
We have been
Yes,
communicating.
yes. We understand that there is an overlap in our roles, and in order to give the best benefit to the persons that we're here to help, we have to work together.
Information, education. As we go to the phone lines, caller, you're live on Voices.
Good morning.
Good morning, welcome to the program.
Sorry if I already missed it, but could you walk us through the expenses incurred with running a tent? Like, where do you start? Because you have to get venues, right? And you have to do all of that. So
Okay, this is a call from overseas. Yes, go ahead.
And the Carnival Committee doesn't help with that expense at all? Do they help with the SOCA one? I'm just a bit confused.
Okay, here's what. The tents are private events. I'm speaking from the faculty. I'm the founder and owner of the Legends Calypso Tents. What we do, we host the tents at various tents venue around the Federation, and then from the elimination, which is actually the start of the competition, the Carnival Committee then comes into play. But when we ask for the cooperation, example, in assistance with getting some of the, with the transportation challenge of getting calypsoans from Nevis, or with ads or whatever, they're willing to cooperate and work with us because it's a national product. But the tents, until we get to the elimination, are private events. During the COVID era, they took over that because there was a whole security issue. You couldn't have tents here and there and there. So they stepped in and they subsidized all the tents because you could have private events. So they played that major role. We are now post-COVID and gone back to that format. So yesterday I went to secure certain venues within the Bastille area. I have all the venues planned, etc. So it's a private event, but the Carnival Committee has shown their sense of cooperation in working with us. The cost to run the tent, it's an individual thing. If I think of it, if I ask them, if I have a shortage with this and that, they would comply because it's a national product. And they're all about its success. But because it's a private event, I have to beat the pavement and go and speak to sponsors, get venues, make sure I have enough, so at the end of the day, I can meet my financial obligations. Does that address your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're so very, very welcome. And that's a caller from, she's a friend of Federation. Ms. Brenda O'Neill. She has a travel agency. If you plan to get married, she have this thing there, with this ring I do wed. She do romance, travel, and stuff like that. So just to let you know. But she's been here many times doing carnival, so she know what pertains on the ground. So she was saying that the overseas lines are not really working. I don't know where she called from, but the 718 number does work. That's 718-285-6948. Ladies, anyone want to continue?
I think I want to touch on something that Leah said earlier. Okay, so heard that beeping. Where you said that the creatives or the persons that you wanted to reach, they were concentrating on making the money now. Now I can recall during COVID, we did a royalty distribution, and we were able to give a family. It was over $10,000. Royalties, the royalties were willed to that individual.
Willed?
Yes, because he had already passed.
Okay.
But his family was able to benefit from those royalty payments. So it is something that you can look at as, a cushion, for later on. Yes, you think about, an investment. It's something that you can will, it's something that you can go, that can live on beyond your life.
Looking at 50 years, is it?
50 years, yes, 50 years. And of course, it can be renewed. The family can renew it. However, Bob Marley is benefiting from that, Michael Jackson, et cetera.
Bob Marley?
Yeah, his
But
family.
his family.
His family.
That's what she means.
Socrates, come on. But yes. But he's probably smiling down on his kids, okay? But yes, so whereas we want everything now because we're thinking about how
we're hungry now.
We're hungry now. However,
You have your children to feed now.
I understand that, but you need to also balance that out because if you can do other things to feed you now, but then you also need to prepare for the future. So, for example, if you decide to buy a kid, a little goat, right?
Oh, I was like, we buy children now?
No, the little goat. You would stand to. I'm wondering if this is a proper example to use.
Please
But
make the pizza people come for you.
but okay, for example, if you're into that, you would gain more if you allow the sheep to grow. Or the goat to grow.
True.
So I think that is where I'm going to leave it. I don't want to give any details, but you understand. You have to, nurture and put some sort of time and effort into nurturing that particular idea, that particular venture, whatever it is you want to call it. But you can't just think, okay, I want to eat now, and when you eat now, what's going to happen tomorrow? You have to think about the future. You have to put things in place for the future. And that involves educating yourself, that involves networking, that involves, taking advantage of, various opportunities and, initiatives like what Moint is trying to, push forward. And the thing is that, nothing would be successful if you don't come together and have a positive, approach towards creating something great.
And securing your work.
Securing your work, exactly. So if there's a saying that if you go alone, you go far. But if you network, it
No,
it
if you
lasts.
want to go fast, go alone.
Go alone, right.
If you want to
There
go
you go.
far, go together.
Go together. Thank you.
We're going to go downtown together and give Caesar his due. And we'll be right back.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
TDC Financial Services. We're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services. We are strong. TDC Financial Services. This is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Once again, good morning and welcome back to the discussion with Ms. Vanalyn Francis from ECHO and Ms. Quick Chatterton from the Ministry of Entertainment. We've got about 10 minutes left of the time. They have to leave. At that point, we'll pause for the midday newscast. But I wanted to ask Ms. Francis about the signing of protocols for potential members of ECHO? What do they do? Who do they reach out? How do they reach you? What do they do? What's required?
Okay, they can reach out to either Grace or me. I can tell you what the process is. The cost, for example, the registration fee is $150. It's a one-time fee. What is required is 2 passport photos, as well as the completion of the application form, and your Social Security number, of course, and as well as your preferred way of payment, whether it be by check or
cash
or direct deposit to your bank account.
Okay.
Also, what is required is that you have to have you need a work that is published already, and you would have to submit that work. You also have to submit your split sheet and notification of works form. And the notification of works form, basically, it indicates how the royalties should be distributed. So, for example, say I write a song, and Socrates, you arrange the music. My notification of works form would indicate that I was a songwriter and you were the composer of the music. Well, an arranger is different from a composer.
Is that the split sheet you meant? Is that the split sheet?
Split sheet is what is reflected on the notification of works is what would be on the split sheet.
Okay.
So you still have to have that split sheet amongst whomever you have the collaboration with.
Okay.
Right, but the notification of works form is what we use in our database. This is what we use. The information from that form is what we use to enter into our database as to how the distribution should occur.
The person who has given the right to perform the song, say you're the songwriter, Leo, but you would have given permission to you, Ms. Francis, to perform the song. How does that work? How does that license work?
License?
Well, you give a permission to perform the song. Is it indefinite? Do you have a contract? You can only perform?
Contracts, exactly. Yeah. Contracts are important. You need to establish some sort of understanding between yourself and the songwriter, and of course also the composer of the music. By that I'm saying that you can't go and for example, it would be unfair for me to take a song that Chatterton wrote, you composed, and then I go and I make a deal with, say, Win FM, and I produce an ad. From it. Really and truly, I can't do that without seeking your permission. And, of course, if, say, Win FM wanted to do the same without me, just hearing the song and liking it and wanting to produce an ad from that work, they have to seek permission from all the parties involved. Because I may only have like a 10% stake in it, because you may decide that because I put in I am a Kittitian flower in the song. You may decide, okay, well, fine, you contributed towards the song, you helped to give it a vibe, you helped to give a good, maybe I might add something that may add to the melody. I may get 10%. Songwriter 40, you 40. But at the same time, again, you have to obtain permission from everyone involved in creating that work.
So I would have paid the background vocalist for their talent in performing. What rights do they have?
Related rights.
Related.
Yes. We are not yet doing related rights. However, we are in discussion.
Because Nadia Batson would have done background vocals on a couple of my CDs. And, her voice is
distinctive.
So I'm thinking, what rights would she have? You said related rights? So all that would have to be taken into consideration? We
don't collect for related rights as yet. However, if the songs have been played in another territory, where if she's a member of a CMO that is collecting related rights, then she would be able to obtain some royalties from that if the works are being played at a licensed venue or radio station. Yes, that is paying the license for related rights.
Because I'm asking this question because they're just coming off, that's important, because one would think, well, the songwriter, the arranger, the producer, but if you pay somebody a salary, you're not part of a contract, you're being paid to render background vocals, and that's it. How do you then?
If it's a work for hire and you have to make sure that you make that absolutely clear. However, related rights works in such a way that you should encourage that they get some royalty payments from it. You should facilitate it.
Okay.
Yes, you should facilitate it.
I'm being educated. I don't mind having that.
Yes, because it gives them a residual income as well. So you should.
And that should be spelled out in terms of percentage, just like how much.
Right. All of in everything that you do, you have to make sure that you come to an agreement before. That is why the split sheets are important, and again, the notification of works forms when you're actually registering the works. And I need to also put in here that you cannot expect to get royalty payments from works that have not been registered. So if we don't have the works in our database, we don't know where the money.
Monitor.
You can't.
Collect.
Right, because the statement would reflect that this work was played, blah blah blah. But if this is not in the database, we don't know, and that is where we go into the unidentified pool.
Okay. So there's a press conference tomorrow. Would that be part of your presentation? Or is it a different forum where you deal with that? Because these are more detailed specifics.
I think that's more for the consultation.
More for the consultation.
Yes.
But for the press conference and the consultation, we want to encourage, or we are encouraging, I'm going to list out some people, just in case you're listening and you forget this has nothing to do with me. This is going to help you know whether or not you should listen to this press conference tomorrow and whether or not you should attend the public consultation. Chances are you should, though. So if you're an event promoter, and that's any public event, fairs, fetes, bazaars, concerts, fashion shows, pageants, your regular old jam sessions, you should listen and you should attend the public consultation in November. If you own or operate a radio or TV station, come on down. If you run a cinema, you are invited. If you have a club and or disco, so all those big people parties, yes, please come, please listen. If you have a dance school or dance studio where you play music, yes, you are included in this. Fitness centers and gyms who play music, yes, you have to listen. Hotels and guest houses, offices, banks, commercial premises, restaurants, cafes, and bars. Even shops, supermarkets, and stores, if you play music through your PA system, you need to come and hear what we have to say. Ships, boats, and pleasure crafts. So those lovely catamaran cruises and night cruises that they have, those owners need to come to this. And sound system operators and karaoke operators, anyone who plays any kind of music or who has an event where music is performed live or played that does not belong to them, and even if it does belong to them, it doesn't belong to them completely, you need to tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. for this press conference, and you need to find yourselves on November 1st or 2nd, depending on where you live, whether St. Kitts or Nevis, to the public consultation because it affects you.
Okay, given more time, I would have gone into the question of enforcement mechanism, but here's a tricky one for you. We have the time, actually. What about bus drivers?
Bus drivers, yes, you are included. And taxi operators.
Taxi operators, so the bus driver was playing those songs or when he's going back and forth.
Graphic designers who make ads and put music to them. Persons, the sound, voice actors who make ads and use music, yes.
We got 30 seconds before we close. Ms. Francis, any last words?
Well, to finalize this whole meeting today, thank you, Socrates, for having me and Ms. Chatterton here. I believe that we should have something else like this again.
ASAP.
ASAP, yes. I mean, in closing, I would say that, I encourage individuals to, sign up with ECHO, become a member. We normally take some time to go through the process with you so you can understand exactly what you're signing up to and, the benefits and, encourage you to also learn more, put yourself out there. And of course, to the music users, the license is also a form of protection. It prevents you, or it can prevent you from being sued, as well as it goes and shows that you support the industry and that you're willing to, you respect the rights of these creators.
I want to thank you very much for that. You don't really check for 30 seconds, but you know. But I want to thank our guests who joined this morning to educate our population. We have with us this morning Mr. Vanaldarine Francis from ECHO. He's actually director of ECHO SKN, and Ms. Leigh Craig Charlton from the Department or the Ministry of Education for sharing with us these vital nuggets of information. As you said, Ms. Francis, we need to do it again ASAP. So when you ladies have time, I know you're busy right now, please come back again, okay? Okay. We now pause at this time for the midday newscast, and we'll see our viewers on the other side of this presentation. Thank you, ladies.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We are encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every second and fourth Tuesday each month at the following locations in St. Kitts: the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. In Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, Ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottle, flatware set, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tilly Wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
With the Win Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
I am Devon Cornelius.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Making the headlines,
MV Elizabeth Sea crew charged.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank shares inflation statistics. St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the ECCU member states with the lowest increase in consumer prices.
Police investigating fatal incident at Ramsbury.
A non-profit organization calls for the release of inmates in Haiti amid an outbreak of cholera in the prison system. Jamaica's Broadcasting Commission clamping down on what it calls raunchy music and videos broadcasted on local radio and television. Internationally, leaders of the G7 group of rich nations have said they will back Ukraine for as long as it takes in the wake of major Russian missile strikes. Now, the details.
The 5 crew members of the MV Elizabeth Sea, who were taken into police custody as a result of the recent major drug bust, have been charged both by the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department. In a press statement Wednesday, police revealed that charges have been laid against Desu McFarlane and Ronald Olivier of Grenada, along with Peter Scotland, Salim Ali and Michael Jack of Trinidad and Tobago for the offences of possession of cannabis with intent to supply, importation of cannabis, possession of cocaine with intent to supply, possession of cocaine, and importation of cocaine. Customs officials have charged the men with the offences of fraudulent evasion of cannabis, fraudulent evasion of cocaine, concealment of cannabis, concealment of cocaine, and false declaration of documents. McFarlane was charged with an additional offence of altering the vessel for the purpose of concealment. They were charged on October 7th, 2022 and have been remanded at His Majesty's Prison. On October 4th, reports of a drug seizure at the deep water port in St. Kitts began to circulate on social media. Subsequently, it was originally reported that the vessel carrying the narcotics came from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and was en route to the British Virgin Islands. The cocaine carries an estimated street value of approximately $26,400,000 United States dollars, or $71,280,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The estimated street value for the cannabis is approximately $57,777, or $156,000 EC dollars.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB disclosed that consumer prices in the Eastern Caribbean Central Union rose by 3.1% as at June 2022. Consumer prices have been on the increase since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020. The ECCU member countries have experienced notable increases in prices, particularly in energy, utilities, and consumer goods. Anguilla has reported an overall increase of 2%, Antigua and Barbuda 3.7%, Dominica 3.5%, Grenada 1.2%, Montserrat 1.1%, St. Lucia 1.8%, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 2.6%, and St. Kitts and Nevis 1.8%. According to data from the ECCB, Fuel and light has seen the largest growth in inflation at 7.7%. Following behind is housing and utilities at 6.3%, household and furniture equipment at 2.8%, and food and transport and communication at 2%. There has also been price increases on clothing and footwear at 1.4%, alcoholic drinks and tobacco at 1.3%, and personal services at 1.1%. Personal services may consist of dry cleaning services, hairdressing services, seamstress or tailor services, and home cleaning services. Inflation has been a growing concern for the Caribbean region prior to the Russian invasion in Ukraine. Inflation and the rise in the cost of goods and services started from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy, supply chain issues, the shortage of goods, and the hoarding of essential goods from larger countries to secure their country's ability to feed their people. The governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank recently said that inflation, while a problem now on the wallets of the consumers, will not persist, and the region should continue to have confidence in the stability of the EC dollar, where US $1 is EC 2.70 and has been that way since July 1976. However, the governor admitted that cost of living is an issue facing the region and indicated that there is still a need for structural reform as it relates to the financing within the ECCU and the wider Caribbean.
As policymakers and advisors, we have to, even as we deal with immediate crises, such as cost of living, the pandemic, we have to press forward with structural reforms. Those require capacity development. And you might ask, well, what kind of structural reforms? High energy prices. The Caribbean has the highest energy prices in the Western Hemisphere. The highest. Low broadband connectivity. Lack of access to credit. Relatively low human capital development because of brain drain. Those are structural issues.
The police are investigating an incident that occurred at a residence in Ramsbury, Nevis, in which 2 individuals were found dead and another was seriously injured. Sometime after 1 p.m. on Monday, October 10th, 2022, the police responded to a report that someone's house at Ramsbury was on fire and that an individual was inside. Upon arrival at the scene, fire and rescue officers were extinguishing a fire that engulfed a house. Once the fire was extinguished, the police conducted a search of the structure. Inside, they discovered the burnt body of a female lying in the living room and the body of a male lying in the bathroom. The male has since been identified as 37-year-old Stanford Azor, a national of Guyana who resided at a separate residence in Ramsbury. The police will use DNA samples to positively ascertain the identity of the female. Investigations so far have revealed that Sharon Leach of Craddock Road had undergone emergency surgery for a stab wound she received after intervening in an altercation that occurred at the residence, which had later been destroyed by fire. She is now warded in a stable condition at the Alexandra Hospital. Personnel from the forensic department visited and processed the scene and collected items of evidential value. The details of what took place are currently unclear. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. The police are urging persons with information about this incident to contact the Charlestown Police Station by dialing 469-5391, the nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707.
In regional news, a non-profit organization calls for the release of inmates in Haiti amid an outbreak of cholera in the prison system. Jamaica's Broadcasting Commission clamping down on what it calls raunchy music and videos broadcasted on local radio and television. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
A non-profit organization has called on Haiti's government to release certain inmates amid a swift rise in cholera cases throughout the country's severely crowded prison system and dwindling supplies of clean water. Health Through Walls, which provides medical care to prisoners in Haiti, noted that not only inmates are at risk, but also security guards, kitchen workers, and health staff. The call comes as Haiti remains largely paralyzed by gangs and anti-government protesters, leading to severe shortage of fuel, water, and other basic supplies as the government calls for the immediate intervention of foreign troops. Turks and Caicos has announced that 24 police officers from the neighboring Bahamas have arrived there to work with a firearms and responses unit in one of the moves been taken to deal with a raging crime wave there. Officials there are also reporting the setting up of a 24-person anti-gang squad made up of specialist UK detectives to tackle gang violence. Governor Nigel Dakin has described the recent crime wave as a national crisis. The Biden administration is considering allowing some Venezuelans seeking humanitarian entry into the United States to apply from Venezuela or a third country to reduce illegal border crossing, two U.S. Departments of Homeland Security officials have said. The program, if implemented, would resemble a similar effort announced in April to bring Ukrainians fleeing the Russian invasion of Ukraine into the United States. Venezuelans caught crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally in the past 5 years would not be eligible, the officials said, requesting anonymity to discuss internal matters. The White House and DHS declined to comment. Jamaica's Broadcasting Commission is clamping down on raunchy music and videos being broadcast on radio stations there and free-to-air television. The Broadcasting Commission on Tuesday issued a directive requiring broadcasters to take immediate steps to prevent the transmission of any recorded material that promotes and/or glorifies illegal activity. In a statement, the Commission said any audio or video recording, live song or speech which promotes or glorifies scamming, illegal use of drugs, illegal use of guns or other offenses, weapons, jungle justice, or any form of illegal or criminal activity is strictly prohibited. The Commission said this includes live editing and original edits, as well as the use of near-sounding words as substitutes for offensive lyrics, expletives, or profanities.
We now bring you these international reports.
G7 leaders have held an emergency meeting to discuss what more they can do to support Ukraine after a second day of Russian missile strikes. They condemned the attacks and reassured President Zelensky that they were steadfast in their commitment to Ukraine. They said irresponsible nuclear rhetoric risked global peace and security. Ukraine's president addressed the G7 meeting calling for more help with air defence and presented his peace formula. From Kyiv, here's Paul Adams.
In Kyiv, a day of welcome calm after yesterday's storm. Air raid sirens did sound briefly, citizens heeding their government's warning to seek shelter, some heading for the metro.
We don't feel safe because we don't know what's coming next. Nevertheless, I hope that what happened yesterday was the scariest thing.
I'm not afraid because there will be victory for Ukraine, Ukrainians, for all our people.
One of yesterday's missiles almost hit the city's famous pedestrian bridge. Today, after getting the all clear, people came out to see what almost happened.
This popular bridge isn't just a tourist attraction anymore, it's now what the mayor calls a symbol of Ukraine's indomitability. But while the people of this city have had a pretty quiet day on which to reflect on yesterday's events, it hasn't been the same in other parts of the country.
In the southern city of Zaporizhia, a car showroom was gutted early this morning. Officials said 12 missiles were fired at the city. Zaporizhia has been hit almost every day for the past 2 weeks. Officials in other cities have been ordered not to release images of damage to power plants and other infrastructure. With winter coming, they know energy is a key Russian target. President Zelensky directly appealed to allies for help in dealing with missiles and drones. He thanked them for helping to secure Ukraine's skies, but said the threats kept coming and Ukraine needed more. Back in the capital, the cleanup continues. The government has told people here to be vigilant and conserve energy. In this war with many fronts, keeping warm may soon become the next battle. Paul Adams, BBC News, Kyiv.
Well, let's go live to Kiev now and speak to our correspondent Hugo Beshega. Hugo, this morning I can see you're back at our regular spot. You're not underground. This time yesterday, sirens had already gone off. So describe the atmosphere today.
Yes, Sally. Well, actually, we had a siren just 15 minutes ago, but we had the all clear just before we came on air about 5 minutes ago. It was the fourth time today that the air raid sirens went off here in Kyiv. We had three during the night, an unusual number. So it gives you a sense of how tense the situation is here in the capital 2 days after those missile strikes hit the capital, causing several deaths here. But there was a lot of work yesterday here across the city to restore the damage, to repair services. And I think here in Kyiv, electricity has been restored in most parts of the city. President Zelensky said last night that work was underway in many parts of the country to restore electricity, to restore supplies to millions of people. And I think this is the fear here, that Russia seems to have a strategy of trying to target civilian infrastructure across the country. And I think the fear is that more attacks are likely to come.
Yeah, and we were hearing there from President Zelensky on that virtual meeting with G7 leaders, calling for a new action from G7 leaders in response to this new wave of terror.
Yeah, and he mentioned that in his address last night. He said that he expected a positive response today from NATO countries. There is a meeting of NATO defense ministers in Brussels later today, and I think President Zelensky wants an increase in military aid from NATO countries. Yesterday, as he said, he addressed the online summit of the G7, and he said Ukraine needed more air defense capabilities. And I think yesterday we had the delivery of some equipment from Germany, and also we had the promise by President Biden that the US will be providing Ukraine with air defense capabilities. So again, the Ukrainians are saying that they need more weapons to defend this country. President Zelensky accusing Russia again of employing terrorist tactics, and NATO countries will be discussing later today what else can be done to help Ukraine to fight this war.
The US president says there'll be consequences for Riyadh after the OPEC Plus group led by Saudi Arabia decided to steeply cut oil production. The Organization of Petrol Exporting Countries announced its decision last week despite US opposition. The White House says President Joe Biden is willing to work with Congress. That's after a senior senator called for a freeze on cooperation with Saudi Arabia.
From the beginning of the administration, since taking office, the president has been very clear that the United States needs a different sort of relationship with Saudi Arabia. He has said that from very early on. And I have said this last week when OPEC made the decision to align their energy policy with Russia's war aims and against the American people, further underscores that reasoning to realign that relationship, to reevaluate that relationship with Saudi Arabia. We are reviewing where we are currently right now, and we'll be watching closely over the coming weeks and months as well.
Well, Kimberly Halkett has more from the White House.
Well, this is something that has really been a concern for many on Capitol Hill for some time, this U.S.-Saudi relationship. And there has been a concern about particularly the issue of human rights. And so this is something that many members of Congress, not just from the opposition Republican Party, but also from the president's own Democratic Party, have been urging the White House to do, not just the Biden administration, but also the Trump administration for many years, to reevaluate this relationship. And so this is something that, as we've been reporting, the national security spokesperson John Kirby says is now something that the White House is willing to look at, given the fact that the president did travel to Saudi Arabia in recent months, did feel that he had a good conversation with the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, but they're not happy with the fact that now there has this decision by OPEC to, in fact, cut production. And so there's a number of reasons why the White House is not happy about this decision. And one of the big reasons is that there is a congressional election that is coming up in just a matter of weeks, in fact, in November. And this is really seen to benefit the president's political adversaries here in the United States. High energy prices really are not good for the president politically. And so that's one reason that this White House is not happy about this. But the other reason that the White House is not happy about this is that the fact that this is really seen as aligning with Russia.
Let's bring in now Marwan Kabalan. He's the head of political studies at the Arab Center for Research and Policy Studies. Joins us now from Doha. Good to have you with us. So first of all, is the Biden administration, do you think, really angry with the Saudis, or is this talk of reevaluating the relationship, the talk of consequences, is it really just about domestic consumption? So Biden looks tough ahead of elections.
Well, I think they might be angry because, the Biden administration tries to interpret the Saudi decision as, on the one hand, sort of a realignment by the Saudis, or an alignment by the Saudis with the Russians on the Ukrainian war, because the Saudis have not been willing over the past few months actually to denounce the Russian invasion of Ukraine, or to give a clear stand on the war on Ukraine. Rather, they have taken a neutral position on that, and they have actually stood by their alliance with the Russians in OPEC. Because, there has been an agreement between OPEC and the Russians in 2020 to cut down oil productions because the prices, because of COVID-19, have plummeted in 2020, and they remain actually very much faithful to that agreement. On the other hand, also, the Biden administration interpreted the Saudi decision as an attempt maybe to influence the midterm elections. Saudi-U.S. relations have not been really warm over the past 2 years since the Biden administration came to power in early 2021. President Biden has made many comments actually that angered the Saudis. Of course, the Saudis are saying that the decision has been actually based mainly on economic grounds.
Yeah, before we get that, Marwan, can I ask you this question? What options does the White House have then if it wants to hit back at Saudi Arabia without undermining its own interests in the region?
Yeah, this is a very good question, Sami, because one reason for the Biden visit to Saudi Arabia last summer actually was to prevent the Saudis from drifting towards China and Russia. This is something that is worrying the United States a lot in these days. So they might be using force. The Americans, they have leverage over the Saudis. They can use many tools actually to put pressure on the Saudis, like, for example, stop their arms deals for the Saudis, whom they need these arms very much because of the war in Yemen, and because they are facing also threats from different places by Iran and by its proxies.
Right.
Well, on the other hand, as you said, the Biden administration must strike a balance between the domestic needs on one hand, the pressure by the Congress in order to do something against the Saudis, but on the other hand, they don't want to go very far in that, so that they push the Saudis to the lap of the Chinese and the Russians.
That would undermine their own interests, obviously. Right, let me ask you this question, though. Absolutely. Is Saudi Arabia really siding with Russia, or is it siding with its own interests in supporting OPEC oil cuts? Because when you look at the data, oil prices, at least the Brent blend, they were actually dropping since mid-July. About mid-July, they were around $110 a barrel to 84. That was going down, $84 a barrel before OPEC cut the prices. So was this really Saudi Arabia siding with Russia, or it just wanted to keep the oil prices high? It was a pragmatic move.
It's, as you said, Sami, I don't believe that the Saudis, they want actually to align themselves with Russia, especially now Russia in a pretty weak position right now, and Russia cannot actually compensate for the U.S. alliance with Saudi Arabia. The Saudis, they still need the Americans very much as a strong security ally in the midst of so many challenges. I think the decision by the Saudis have taken completely based on economic grounds. As you said, the oil prices have been plummeting over the past few months, and the Saudis, they need the money. Actually, they need to keep the price as high as possible because they need that money. They have so many schemes and projects in the kingdom, so they need all sorts of cash in order to keep that going. So I don't believe that the interpretation by the Biden administration that the Saudis are aligning themselves with the Russians to be the accurate description of the latest Saudi decision. Plus, this is not the Saudi decision only. This is a decision by OPEC and by other oil-producing countries. All they need higher prices for oil, especially at this particular time.
All right, Marwan, always good to talk to you. Thanks for your analysis on that.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
MV Elizabeth Sea crew charged.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank shares inflation statistics. St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the ECCU member states with the lowest increase in consumer prices.
Police investigating fatal incident at Ramsbury.
A non-profit organization calls for the release of inmates in Haiti amid an outbreak of cholera in the prison system. Jamaica's Broadcasting Commission clamping down on what it calls raunchy music and videos broadcasted on local radio and television. Internationally, leaders of the G7 group of rich nations have said they will back Ukraine for as long as it takes in the wake of major Russian missile strikes. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We're encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the following locations: in Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and the Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. In St. Kitts, every second and fourth Tuesday at the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Dieppe Bay. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottles, flatware, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. So think smart. Take PAT, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Don't stop, won't stop, can't stop the never-ending cashback at Horsford's. Yes, it's that time of the year. Double cashback coupon season is here. The season when Horsford's Furniture and Appliances gives away millions in free groceries with every FlexPay purchase and a chance to win 1 year in free groceries with a never-ending double cashback. Yes, the Horsford's never-ending double cashback is back for even more free groceries. This is double cashback coupon season, so come today and get double cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries in the never-ending double cashback promotion. Yes, happening now. Get double cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase. The never-ending double cashback is back at Horsford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store, where you get double cashback coupons for free groceries with every FlexPay purchase. Don't stop, won't stop, can't stop the never-ending savings, never-ending discounts, never-ending quality and service, and the never-ending double cashback for this double cashback coupon season. Don't miss it. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Good afternoon to our many viewers and listeners across the globe. Welcome to the second half of Voices. You're logged on to WinFM 98.9. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. And for those enjoying a sumptuous lunch or just continue to have a wonderful day. And we will keep you entertained from the studios of WinFM. Earlier this morning, we had two persons in the studio, and they were actually we had the director of St. Kitts ECHO chapter, the SKN chapter, Ms. Vanaldorine Francis. We were speaking about issues about copyright, looking after the creatives' rights, how they can be a member of these collective agencies where the interests are more or less supervised in terms of when entities play the music, they can be remunerated. We also had with us Ms. Leigh Craig Chatterton from the Department of Entertainment, affiliated with MOINT, speaking about the attention being focused on creatives young and old, how the desire is to bring them into the fold so that they can actually get monetized for their work that they're putting out there. So I want to thank them for being here this morning. We had a couple of calls, and I had a comment from a contributor, but I won't put that up there. But yes, it's Friday. It's the 12th day of October, and the band plays on. Let me just take this quick call. I just tell him I'm on voices. I'll call back. So I'm on voices. All right. So, some time ago, there was a conversation. I think it was started by Miss Sylvie Henry. There was Junior Crape Hodge involved, other persons. And it was centered about trying to assist persons with wheelchairs, people who amputees, people, strokes, etc., etc. And I have a friend in New York who she's a caregiver for senior patients, and she has been very, very interesting in assisting where she can. She called me yesterday to inform me she now has 2 wheelchairs, and she's going to try to get them to St. Kitts. So I know there's a person up in St. Peter's we've been trying to assist with a wheelchair. I'm not sure how soon those wheelchairs will be within the Federation. I think I'm going to reach out to the relevant authorities here to contact those at the mission in New York to get those chairs and have them shipped down to St. Kitts. How long it will take, I really don't know, but I think that's a great thing that those 2 chairs are available. We want to thank Miss Rosemary Donald for first listening to the program, having an interest, and making a commitment to assist where she can. We know we have many nationals up there who would like to help. The numbers, I actually gave my number out, is 6620989. Now, what am I saying? That's the station number. It's 6624690. 6624690, that's my personal number. But of course, you can contact the folks here at Win FM, 6620989, 4660989. If you want to be part of this venture in assisting folks within our Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis, who may have a need for a wheelchair, a walker, something to help them with their, ambulations, we look forward to that. So once again, to Rosemary Donald, thank you so very much for that. It's now an open mic. And the numbers to call to get in on this topic or any other one that you want to raise is 4660989, 6620989. I'll be here until 1:30 roughly. It's a beautiful Wednesday. It's a bit overcast. We're still in the hurricane season, and we have to appreciate that. It's still beautiful weather, and we love the rain. There are times people complain about the rain. We have to remind them that no rain, no food. To Sister Hazel Brooks, good afternoon. Amber over there in Anguilla, always tuned in. Good afternoon. I was reaching out to the sanitation workers earlier today. They are, to my mind, real essential workers. Sometimes they're overlooked, or the job that they do is not really fully appreciated. So I want them to know that we appreciate what they do is so very, very important. So the sanitation workers, the bus drivers, and there was an interesting question that was raised almost at the end of this morning's program about intellectual property rights and the many venues and persons who play music without giving it a second thought that is somebody's property they're using and they have to be paid for it. So they mentioned venue owners, event promoters, those who have dance classes, DJs, hotels. They play what we call elevator music. And I raise a question, what about bus drivers? They said there too. That would be interesting on the taking. That would be very, very interesting. How do you monitor the bus drivers and put on a mechanism in place where they have to pay for the content they play as they ply the trade daily going back and forth? How do you do that? I think that's going to be a daunting one, because policing this thing is very, very, very difficult. Established venues you can monitor Radio stations, you can look at their playlist. DJs, you can look at their content if you monitor where they're playing at that particular point in time. But bus drivers, it's like second nature. We don't give it a second thought. We just plug in and play. Even myself, I have some music we play when I'm on my tours, depending on the tour. When I do safari, they like loud music, and and so I too will have to conform. I am a creative, so I'll have to respect the fact that other people's material is being used on my tours. It is a step in the right direction. We spoke about the awesome talent of the unexpected. One of our better writers, better entertainers, better performers. I mean, people flock to see and hear his content. He's just awesome. Sadly, he's one of the exploited ones. We have spoken. The times he don't feel to compete, because as far as he's concerned, people are taking his music, creating CDs, and selling them without even the courtesy of getting his permission or to share the proceeds of the sales with him. This has been going on for many years, not only with him. I use him as a prime example because he's one of the person who has reached out. I have a contribution by way of a WhatsApp. It says, bus drivers seem to fall under fair use to me. The question of fair use came up a bit earlier. So if a bus driver buys an album of an artist, let me get this thing in. Yeah. So if a bus driver buys an album of an artist he likes and plays it in his bus, he has to pay. You're asking me. He's asking me if you have to pay. I pose the question to Miss Francis from ECHO, and she says them too. She says them too. So, Mr. Person who sent this, you will have to take that up with them for more clarity. As far as she's concerned, they're playing the trade, but they're playing music as a form of entertaining their paying passengers. So it's not like nitpicking, but it goes to the whole conversation of the creative being, compensated for his work. Of course, we know the radio station over the many years, especially during the carnival time, they play those songs, and the many artists, Las Calypsonians, do not mind because they're getting airplay. Well, these folks are now saying it's not fair to the artist. It's his work, it's his property, and he should be duly compensated. I don't mind because I need to get compensated also. So the issue with the bus drivers, it may not be the first, it may not be on the top of things to do, but who knows? For the DJs, and the person setting this thing, he's a DJ presenter. Or I can say that you conform or they shut you down. What do you think? But that's a different story. The thing is, they are and have been trying to reach out to local entertainers for some time to get to be members of these collection agencies, so that your work is not being used, exploited, and your talent exploited, you get nothing in return. Okay? The lines are open for anyone who wants to join this debate or start any new topic. 6620989, 7620989 gets you in on the conversation. The question that was asked also earlier as to whether the Carnival Committee assists with the tents, and it's a positive, they do. But I had to point out that the tents are actually private events. The Calypso tents, there are two main ones. There's the Legends Calypso tent, there's Proud Sound, they're private events. The Calypsonians that sing with the tents, they choose who we just want to sing with. And whatever the structure is in the other tent, I try to give the gate receipts to my Calypsonian as a form of compensation. It's not much considering, but the whole managerial process cost. And there was a time we had a certain demographic that would come out and support the tent. There's some people there, die-hard supporters of the Calypso tent, and we really, really appreciate them. Others, the argument has been made that people are shying away from Calypso. It's now mainly a seasonal thing. The big shows now feature mainly soca artists. And for what it's worth, okay, at least their work has been appreciated. The genre of Calypso has been going through, I wouldn't say metamorphosis, but some changes. We just lost one of, I would say, very great Calypsonian in the person of Explainer, to the point that he was the writer of his own material. He wrote for many other artists. That's why they call it true Calypsonian. And this is like debatable. People say, well, okay, well, once you sing Calypso, you're a Calypsonian. Not necessarily so. Explainer was a true Calypsonian. He wrote his own, he arranged his own, he performed his own, and he also helped. And the hits he had, we know them. Rasmas was an anthem back in the early 80s, those big songs, and of course, he passed last week, I think around the age of 72. One can make the point or the argument that the great ones are passing on. I'm not too far, I'm not too far from that myself. And so the discussion was held last week with members of the Calypso subcommittee about a mentorship program to get the younger Calypsonians involved at from the primary level. And the recommendations are you have to reach them while they were at school. The practice has been to try to get them involved during the carnival season. That means reaching out to them mainly in October, late October, November, when exams are on. And so the parents are more concerned about the kids' education, so the Calypso thing, and it's a rush thing. And they go on stage unprepared, unmentored, try their best. The parents are all concerned. They're buying them, assist them in the props, etc. The problem of the kids. I think we can do a lot better in terms of preparing the next generation if we are serious about the sustainability of Calypso. If not, the next 5-10 years, you're going to have all the other genres dominating the road. The soca artists have come into their own. I appreciate that. And it's tough, but at least they help to contribute to the whole calendar of events when it comes to Carnival. So not only the Calypso show and the Queen show, you have the soca artists now on the platform has been growing. It's normally a younger demographic. That being said, it embraces both male and female, so yes. I think the price for that has gone up. So I think there's a discussion also to take up the Calypso prize. I'm not going to say what it is at the moment. But I think in coming out of COVID, and the phrase that we're outside is being embraced by the committee, hoping to put on a splash, so to speak. Not to do any ambush marketing, but the Legends Calypso tent is looking to open its doors on the 3rd of next month. So our rehearsal starts on Saturday the 15th. For those who know where our band house is, we start rehearsing on Saturday the 15th and hoping to get a full cast up and ready for the 2nd. I know we can go over the Grandmasters. He's doing his thing. So I'm appealing to the public. To come out and support the Calypso tents. We like freeness to the point where we want everything to be free, but there's a cost to the production. And the same Calypsonian whose work you want to enjoy, maybe hit on radio, you love it, it costs him to produce that. You can help the whole process by coming up to the tents and supporting the various Calypsonians. There'll be a lot of humor. People saying that the Calypsos are too serious, they're too drab, they want some wit. And based on what I've heard so far, we have some very witty songs. Some will be on the radio shortly, so you can, be able to whet your appetite and determine if you want to go out and support. I would suggest that you do that because it encourages the whole process, especially the artists. Okay? So that's that in terms of the plans for Carnival, the early preparations. I don't have a schedule with me about the other events, but in terms of the Calypso, we will be off early in November. There was some guys saying you need to open up in like October. It's not realistic. If you open a Calypso tent in October, you still have the same very small demographic who comes up. The same group of people come to all the tents. So the experience over the years has informed that we open up during the first week of November and take it from there. We're going to go downtown and talk to Caesar for a few minutes while my voice gets a bit of respite. And we'll be back with you right after these few kind words.
Everything gotta go. Everything gotta go. For 4 days only. Wednesday, October 12th, Thursday, October 13th, Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th. Everything gotta go at the Horseman's Furniture and Appliances Everything Gotta Go warehouse sale. Everything gotta go. That's right. Everything gotta go. Every stove, refrigerator, dining, living and bedroom sets, flat screen TVs, washing machines, and more gotta go. Come to the CAP Southwell Industrial Estate and get up to 30, 40, 50, 60, 75% and more of furniture, appliances, and more. Wednesday, October 12th, Thursday, October 13th, Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances Everything Gotta Go warehouse sale. Don't miss it. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Horsford's Value Mart IG Value Club Glutac Special.
Running October 6 to the 29th.
Dole fruit bowls, just $12.49 each. Chobani Greek yogurt, $5.69. Hot Pockets, $13.99 each. Bigelow teas, just $9.99. Gain dish detergent, $8.49. Pure Bar tissue, $19.99 each. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Betty Crocker cake mixes, $6.99. IGA or essential everyday quick and regular odds, $11.49. Hunt's ketchup, $4.99. Equaline mouthwash, $14.99. Kraft mayonnaise, $18.99. Hefty slider storage bag, $10.49. Shop smart, shop value mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices. Somebody just sent me a picture of some work being done and says prompt repair has been done today to the sinkhole between Carambola and Shipwreck. So motorists on the road, be careful in your travels. Speaking about Carambola, I was there on Monday at 11 o'clock for the plaque exchange ceremony for the arrival of one of the seaborne lines, which docked just off in Friars Bay. And of course, the Prime Minister was there. He apologized for the absence of the Minister of Tourism, who was overseas at the FCCA conference. So he received the plaque on behalf of the Federation and gave one to the captain of the ship. Thereafter, there was a conversation that developed between one of the owners of Carambola. And I was actually taking some pictures of the establishment, the beach area, from the platform, mainly for marketing purposes. And I was about to leave when she engaged me in a conversation. And she made a reference to some remarks she claimed I made earlier when asked by a certain radio host about why the ships were going to Carambola, let's say Friars Bay Carambola, and avoiding downtown, and how it was affecting the taxi drivers. And my response then was, well, I guess we'll have to look into that. She was at pains to point out that it's a request. The Seaborne actually catered to a high-end clientele. And it was a request for exclusive exclusivity that the shipping line would have made, or according to Sean, that the shipping line made for their guests. The tours that leave Carambola are pre-booked events. There's a cordon, they actually cordon off access to prevent access to the facility when those ships are in place. And it irks some people because sometimes you don't have the information. You will leave Port Zante with some guests to go to South Friars Bay. When you get there, you can't have access because they cater to, well, on that day, to an exclusive clientele that's prearranged. And so I thought I'd have this discussion because the more information you have, the better you understand. On those given days, the establishment is on a contract to cater exclusively to their guests. They have the entertainment, they have the drinks, there's a package that they enjoy. The Federation do attract high-end clientele. And when they request that level of service, if it can be offered, we have to respect it. A lot of furor came out of the optics when the first ships arrived to Sinkers directly after, well, during the COVID lockdown, when the permission was granted. The largest ships that were supposed to be calling on Sinkers for some reason on that very, very date they would do here, went to St. Martin. And so the smaller ship that would have arrived and gone straight over to Carambola, it was one of those arrangements where they were catering for a high-end clientele that asks for exclusivity. Fine. Mr. Grant got a lot of licks for it from taxi drivers. The outcry was, we were locked down for so long, and now the ships come in, the one ship gone to Friars Bay. What happened to all the taxi drivers? I recall Mr. DuPont in one of his presentations saying that the minister should be fired. But with greater understanding and get a better appreciation, when those ships were going there in the past, we didn't have a problem because we were servicing the bigger ships downtown. But because they want the bigger ships downtown, and when these ships, this line come here, they go straight there. Most of us have a problem with it. But it's a service, it's a request by that particular cruise line for their guests to have that high-end service. So the corner of the, not the beach, but the access to Karambola. Okay? We have to see things both ways. I'm a taxi operator. And I could say, well, it bothers me to see that ship come there, but only caters. But they're service providers, Greg Safari, Scenic, Cantos. We may say, oh, them again, but they provide a service. Somebody called me and asked me, okay, how come when the cruise ships come here and they dock at the port, they have to pay a head tax? I think it's $5 a head. And they should go over there. So do they pay it to the establishment? They say no. The government still collects the head tax. It doesn't matter where they berth. Even the yachts berth over at Saw Plage area. They still have to go through customs and pay the required head tax. So one has to look at it carefully and try to understand that there's a service, a specific service acts on the behalf of the ship for the clientele, and these persons are providing it. He speaks to the Federation being offered to handle high-end clientele. The question was asked, well, what if they went to Reggae Beach or some other beach? Would the outcry be against that also? So the person felt that it was something personal and it was slandering the property. I'm only sharing this because it serves for better understanding. I was given, I don't have it with me this morning, a new schedule of the ships due to call on St. Kitts. It appears to be a very active list, but of course in the past we've had cancellation for one reason or the other. But I actually should have brought it with me. But it looks very promising from what I was able to glean. And we're hopeful that from early November we get off and we can really, as best we can, try to get back on an even keel. There was a meeting called for taxi drivers yesterday morning at Port Zante, and we're about 300 strong. We're talking about those taxi drivers who depend solely on the trade for their livelihood, not the part-timers. We had a sampling of about maybe 10%. We had about 32. The appeal was for all. I made the appeal on radio prior. I shared it, other person shared it in the chat. And we had just a small sampling. But yet at some later point in time, you had a complaint, well, information is not shared with them. If you're not there, it's hard to share information with you. It's hard to share the information that you need to have. You need to be informed. Okay? Even if you come late, at least you made the effort, you got there, and you were able to contribute to the conversation as to the way forward. We are still a bit punch drunk from the effects of COVID. We are hopeful for a very vibrant season. But the information that you would need as to how we conduct ourselves in going forward, many don't show up, but the complaints are there. But enough was shared yesterday, and a vote is being, I won't say a vote, but they're trying to get feedback from the cross-section of the taxi fraternity as to how we should move forward when the ships start docking again. We're looking at about the first week of November. So those two items, the whole thing with Karambola, the perception that the ships are only catering to them and they block off people. If you have an exclusive event, you cater to your guests. They're high-end clientele. We appreciate the fact that the Federation has a facility that can address that, accommodate them. We get our fair share downtown. So on the days that they're in a shipping port and you find it goes over there, try and understand, it's not designed to take anything from you. It's a service that they are asked to provide, and we have to respect the fact it's a private event. Okay? So there's that. And we're going to talk to Caesar one more time. Okay, we have a little thing here from New York. Joe say that he was going to calling on the Calypsonian issue and Carnival, but he's got busy. Calypso Joe, New York Joe, phone lines are still open. Give me a call, okay? Love to hear what you have to say. So, okay, we pause one more time to get a few words in from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We got just about 60 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour, so we're winding down. See you after we get back from downtown.
Everything gotta go. Everything gotta go. For 4 days only. Wednesday, October 12th, Thursday, October 13th, Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th. Everything gotta go at the Horseman's Furniture and Appliances Everything Gotta Go warehouse sale. Everything gotta go. That's right. Everything gotta go. Every stove, refrigerator, dining, living and bedroom sets, flat screen TVs, washing machines, and more gotta go. Come to the CAP Southwell Industrial Estate and get up to 30, 40, 50, 60, 75% and more of furniture, appliances, and more. Wednesday, October 12th, Thursday, October 13th, Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances Everything Gotta Go warehouse sale. Don't miss it. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Once again, welcome back to the program. My name is Socrates, and we are hosting Voices. Yes, I got a couple of questions posed to me, and forgive me, I gave it the wrong time a while ago. Okay. The number to call, I was asked to give this number out. Somebody text me. We got the local numbers, 466-0989, 662-0989, 718 from the New York area. Let me find that number for you. So we have a caller who want to make a contribution. I'm just trying to get that overseas number. Right. Just when you need it, you can't find it. But yes, the concern is about the new cruise ship season. Yeah, from New York, you got 718-285-6948. And from Florida, you got 305-921-4619. We have New York Joe want to make a comment on the Calypso issue and Carnival. And this caller wants to speak about the cruise ship itinerary. So, standing by for your call. Yes, we're hopeful. We're hopeful that the cruise ship season bear the fruits that we've been so long waiting for. We had, like the rest of the world, we went through a bit of a thing, so we're hoping that the resurgence works to our benefit. Okay? That's that. Have a friend from Trinidad coming in from Miami today. Let's see. Okay. That's somebody requesting taxi service. Let's see now. All right. So, yes, we're waiting for the call. In the meantime, what are we discussing? 466-0989, 662-0989, 033-344-0065, and from New York, once again, 718-285-6948. Open the mic. The caller said they're not getting through. Maybe the lines seem to be tied up. If you can text me a question, I can probably try to answer it. The lines seem to be giving some problems. Okay. The engineer says that the lines are ringing, but when he tried to address them, there seem to be issues. So there's a technical problem. We apologize for that. We would love to hear and get your input on the topic. The call text that they're not getting through, the same as from New York, Joe. So there is an issue with the lines. We would love to hear from you. So if you can text or WhatsApp your question, I can probably try to address it. And we do apologize for that. Okay, so which way gone? All right. Yeah, we apologize for the call. We apologize. The engineer is trying his best to take the call, but there is an issue. Sometimes, as somebody say, when windfall. Let's see what the question is. The writer is posing the question. It relates to the cruise ship season and are we positioning? Are we opening? Questions coming through. Okay, it's understanding St. Kitts is normally the last stop on the cruise ship itinerary. That's the concern that we get these ships, and oftentimes, based on the ship schedule, we are the last on the call. We'll just stop here and there and there. And we encounter this often. We understand that they're not inclined to take all the tours because they spent up, they shopped out, they're tired of all, And we have a fair amount with that. But at times, we can tell the difference when this is the first call on the itinerary. People would have sailed for whatever, maybe 2 nights there, anxious to come ashore. And we benefit from that. We still have to appreciate the fact that we're in a very competitive market. And there are days we'll get the last ships. But over the many, many years, in spite of that, we have been able to thrive. The fact is, I think there's an average spend of $1.35 per passenger when it comes to the Seabourn Cruise Line. Not every passenger comes downtown to shop. Some come off the cruise ship, go on a pre-book event, and back from the port or from pier to pier. Very, very often, you will find, very seldom you'll find some of those passengers browsing around the port or even going downtown to the circus area. So we live with that. But we try our best to get the mega ships, those that can make this their first call. When is the last call, we can tell the difference. Based on what you're saying, that a large percentage of the ships coming here, this will be the last call. I'm going to read again. Understanding St. Kitts is normally the last stop. Has thought been given to how that should be creative. Okay. Have thought been given as how to be creative with that. I think that the folks that are being paid the big bucks will have to address that question. I'm not sure how do you change a ship's schedule once it's booked. I don't know. We would love to have this be maybe the first or second call on the cruise itinerary. We do, as I said before, get some ships that this is their first call, and you can tell the difference, not only in the spend, but the way they come off. They've been on sea for a couple of days, want to get off and get into activities, we get that. So we mix the ripe with the green as we go forward. Still grateful that we're able to attract traffic to St. Kitts to a point where we're looking at a recovery. Slower than it might be, we're looking at a recovery, hoping that there's nothing else out there, any external shock that can really put us on the back burner again, or put us on the back burner again. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Oh, lots of comment about the picture that was taken with Prime Minister Drew. That was at the event I mentioned over at the Carambola, where there was a plaque exchange ceremony with the Seabourn Cruise Line, and of course officials from the Tourism Authority were there. The CEO, Mr. Thompson, had made a presentation, as is normal. But of course, they spoke to the long-standing relationship with Seabourn, and one has to appreciate that. So even though they come and they go to Fries Bay, Carambola, the fact that they have been returning, the fact that they made St. Kitts part of their itinerary is so important. It means that you're looking at a satisfied clientele, satisfied passengers. It may be the same person, but the cruise line will be satisfied with the level of service their guests would have experienced here in St. Kitts. I think it's some 15 years. It's been ongoing. So one has to take that into consideration. They may come to a private beach because on that given day is a private event. Other days it's open to the general public. I've gone there time with passengers and didn't like the fact that I had to go elsewhere, because it's not that the beach is the facility. I had to direct my guests up by the shipwreck area where there were other bars, beach bars, and, toilet facilities for them to use. But that was one of the things. So more often than not, when we're down at Port Zante and there is a request to go to, as they call it, Carambola Beach, on that given day, we shared information that that beach is actually closed from the public today because there is an exclusive event. So for those who don't have that information, you go there and it's a turn off because you have to go to a next beach, etc., etc. We don't have many beaches. We do not have many beaches of that of caliber that can, So we go down to Fries Bay. We revert to Frigate Bay, and Frigate Bay, I must say, I'm very impressed with how it's shaping up. They resanded some time ago, and so it's very, very warm and welcoming. There are a couple of beach bars there that cater to the satisfaction of the guests. Here's a question being posed again. Are the St. Kitts tours posted with the cruise ships prior to booking or once they are on board? The question, let me reread. Are the St. Kitts tours posted with the cruise ships prior to booking or once they're on board? Both. But once the passengers are on board, there is the orientation segment where I don't know what I forgot what the description is, but the folks on the ship that deal with activity, they try to book as many tours based on the tours that are available in St. Kitts, the excursions that are available in St. Kitts, because they get a percentage. They have then a captured audience, and they try to tell them, okay, the best thing to do is to book through us because we can ensure your safe return for one thing. We can ensure that if your tour is late, we will wait for you because you would have booked through us. If you go ashore and you go straight to the operators there and an incident happened, you come back late, we don't have to wait for you. So this part of the selling package to give them. You're going to get this, you're going to get exclusive this, book through us. So more and more we find more passengers coming off pre-booked. Not many would have paid for a pre-book event prior to boarding the ship, or once they get there, that captured audience is subject to all the various sales pitch from the crew activity, whatever they are. And so you'll find that a cruise ship is in port, say 3,000 passengers. And you're anticipating, oh, it's going to be a good day for me today. But then you find it's pre-booked, not only in the morning, in the afternoon. The question could be asked, well, why you guys don't go out and sell your tours on the ships also? That's been discussed. But for some years, and some time ago, members of the various taxi has gone out there and tried to sell various packages. It's going to happen again. There is a discussion of the two major associations merging as one and coming on the umbrella of, under one umbrella, and looking at just marketing for our membership. That's in the works. So for the next cruise ship FCC conference, we will be present, making our own representation. But as to the question, are the Singers tours posted with the cruise ships prior to? Some are. The more popular ones are. But once you get that captured audience where they're seated, that's where the damage is done. And sometimes we've had to complain to the various cruise lines because they seldom fair. It's not fair to go, it's not safe to go with the operators, it's not safe to go. And once they use that, until they speak with us, they don't know. Because when we compare what they charge through the agents for a tour, we do the tour for about a third of what they pay, because they have to pay the middleman, the ship have to get the cut, etc., etc. And sometimes it's only when they come ashore and you engage them, they realize they would have been, I won't say hoodwinked, but we guarantee them by demonstration, you get a much, much better tour experience by coming to us directly. But in a mindset, when they hear taxi, they're thinking taxi goes from point A to point B. But your taxi operator is actually a tour guide. In engaging with us, I am telling you, they get a much, much better experience. And it's not they're paying less. They're paying what the rates that the government, tourism authority, has put in place. But the experience with us, one-on-one, is much, much, much better. But before they can get to us, the SureX person on the ship would have told them it's better to book through us because we can guarantee safety. They mentioned insurance. They mentioned being left behind and all that. And people now want to buy security and they fall for it. But now, the discerning traveler bypasses them and come ashore. But the whole COVID, the whole travel under the COVID thing there got a lot of people to buy into this safety pitch. A lot of them bought into this safety pitch. And at one point, the Minister of Tourism had to push back against them, telling people not to book with us. So it's been challenging. I would hope that in going forward, we don't encounter any more of those issues. There will be challenges, of course, but I think we are better poised to address them. I have a question here from Mr. Heiliger. Good afternoon, sir. He says, have you ever been on a cruise? I know this man goes on a cruise all the time with his family. No, I have not been on a cruise. I've been offered. No, I have not been on a cruise, so... Tell me, you can call in quickly. We got about 2 minutes. Let me know your experience because you've cruised a few times. And here's a question now. Why do you undercut each other at the ports? One can say it's a free market. You know, one can say that because they are individual investors and they go there on given days and see they're not making what they thought they would make, and then they cut the price because they figure taking half a pie is better than going home with none. There are some of us who don't do that at all. But until you get the taxi operators, all of them, to understand that there is standardization and if you undercut the price, you're actually violating. Well, in the interim, they're saying, well, it's my investment, and you're charging 20, I'm going to charge 5. They're actually diluting the product. And the guests leave with the word, well, bypass the dispatching station, go out to the front, you could get it for less. And my thing is, fine, you get what you pay for. They try when I'm dispatching, or you offer a package, and they say, okay, we can go outside. Have yourself a nice day. You go ahead. So there's some of us who won't compromise because we value the products. And I actually hate being told by visitors, well, I'll pay you this. The tour is X. Okay, I'll pay you this. Have yourself a nice day. I'm not doing it. Anyway, it's 1:30. It means that we are at the end of today's presentation. I want to thank the folks who may have attempted to get in on the discussion. We apologize for the phone lines and the technical issues. Hopefully on Friday, we have 2 other guests on Friday. We're going to have a better experience. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays. I wish you all peace, love, and a much brighter tomorrow. My name is Socrates. I bid you adieu.
Don't stop, won't stop, can't stop the never-ending cashback at Horsford's. Yes, it's that time of the year. Double cashback coupon season is here. The season when Horsford's Furniture and Appliances gives away millions in free groceries with every FlexPay purchase and a chance to win 1 year in free groceries with a never-ending double cashback. Yes, the Horsford's never-ending double cashback is back for even more free groceries. This is double cashback coupon season, so come today and get double cashback coupons for absolutely free groceries in the never-ending double cashback promotion. Yes, happening now. Get double cashback coupons